She finally talks about George Peppard when she is 91 years old. She was born Sophia Loren in Rome, Italy, on September 20th, 1934, and grew up in the poor town of Patti, which is close to Naples. Early in her life, things were hard and scarce. As a child, she lived through the chaos of World War II, and often had to find cover during air raids and go without food. Even with all of these problems, young Sophia's stunning beauty and strong will showed through. From the time she was a child, she looked out at the far horizon and thought of one day leaving the dark places of post-war Italy. Her strength, which came from going through those hard times as a child, would become the key to her amazing rise to fame. At the age of 15, she joined a local beauty contest where film producer Carlo Ponti, a man whose life would forever change hers, noticed her. This was the humble start of her rise to fame. He noticed not only how pretty she was, but also how smart, kind, and charismatic she was. Sophia started getting small parts in movies with Ponti's help, and she slowly changed from a shy, malnourished girl into a confident and captivating screen personality. Soon, their work relationship turned into a deep romantic bond. They married and stayed together for more than 50 years, until Ponti's death in 2007. This was despite many problems, such as legal and social ones. Sophia Loren became famous all over the world very quickly. In the 1950s, she made a big splash when she appeared in Italian movies like Ada 1953 and The Gold of Naples 1954, where her raw talent and passionate performances wowed audiences. She was different from many of her peers because she could show deep feeling through her eyes and body language. Loren was not only beautiful, but she was also real, and she brought that to every part she played. Moving to Hollywood was the start of a new age for her. She became famous all over the world, and starred with some of the biggest names in movies, like Cary Grant, Frank Sinatra, Clark Gable, and Morello Mastroianni. Her outstanding performance in Vittorio De Sica's Two Women, L'Occhio Chiara, won her the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1961. It was a major accomplishment. It was the first time an actor won an Oscar for a role in a foreign-language picture. She also cemented her place as one of the most admired actresses in the world. Her performance as Cicera, a mother trying to keep her daughter safe during the war, showed a level of emotional intensity that went beyond language obstacles. This performance is still one of the most moving movies ever made about human pain and motherly love. During the 1960s and 1970s, Loren continued to rule both American and European movies. In movies like Marriage Italian Style, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, Arabesque, and The Millionaires, she played parts that were classy, funny, and sensual. The work she did with Morello Mastroianni became famous. Together they had a classic on-screen chemistry that mixed love, wit, and real respect. Loren's personality was very attractive. She handled herself with honor and strength, and even though she was famous, she never lost her sense of who she was. Loren continued to inspire new groups of artists and fans as the years went by. She never let getting older take away from her artistic drive or sense of purpose. The movies she was in after 2009 and The Life Ahead 2020 showed that her ability and emotional depth were still strong. In her son Eduardo Ponti's film Life Ahead, Loren gave a moving performance as Madame Rosa, a Holocaust survivor who takes care of orphan children. This part beautifully summed up her lifelong talent for showing strength through vulnerability. When word came out on September 24, 2023, that the famous Sophia Loren had broken her leg in a fall at her home in Switzerland, everyone held their breath. The popular Italian movie star, whose beauty and youth had long defied her years, was taken to the hospital right away after breaking her hip and femur several times. Close friends and family said that the accident, which happened at her home near Geneva, was a very scary time for her family and fans. Within hours, Loren had emergency surgery by a specialized medical team that was determined to get her back on her feet and stop any more problems. Carlo Ponti Sr., the famous Italian film director who was very important to Sophia Loren's personal happiness and the development of her legendary career, has been linked to her love life and marriage for a long time. One of the most interesting and long-lasting love stories in the history of world film was theirs. A story of great love, working together as artists, and going against the rules during a time when the church and the courts thought their marriage was wrong. In 1950, Sophia Loren met Carlo Ponti, She was only 15 years old, and had just started competing in beauty pageants and acting. Ponti, who was 22 years older than her, and already a successful film director, saw her great potential right away. As she started her career, he became her mentor, and helped her get interviews and change her image from a shy, awkward teenager to a poised, glamorous actor ready to captivate audiences all over the world. What started out as a business friendship quickly turned into something deeper, an emotional bond based on love, respect, and shared goals. But there were many things that stood in the way of them getting married. Carlo Ponti was still legally married to his first wife, Giuliana Fiasri. At the time, Italy had strict divorce rules that made it hard for him to get a legal separation without being judged by religion and society. Sophia and Carlos's love for each other only grew stronger despite the court problems. In 1957, they got married in Mexico without being there. Lawyers stood in for them during the service. This made a big fuss in Italy, where the union wasn't acknowledged. In 1962, this marriage was cancelled so that no one could be charged with bigamy. The cancellation did not mean the end of their relationship, though, instead, it made them more determined to stay together, even though society and religion were pushing them to split up. In the end, their love story overcame problems. Carlo Ponti finally became a French citizen in 1966, after years of legal and personal problems. This gave him the legal right to divorce his first wife and officially marry Sophia Loren again. This time in Paris, they would be married for the rest of their lives and work together on art projects together after this second marriage. Carlo made some of Sophia's most praised movies, such as Two Women 1960, for which she won the Academy Award for Best Actress, and Marriage Italian Style 1964, both directed by Vittorio Deca. Sophia and Carlo worked together to create an art kingdom that was the world's best example of Italian style and elegance. Their marriage, which lasted more than 40 years, was based on deep love, respect, and a shared future. Sophia and Carlo's bond stayed together through the years, while many Hollywood relationships ended because of the stress of being famous. They had two sons, Carlo Jr., who became a conductor for the orchestra, and Eduardo, who became a director for movies. Both of them continued their parents' artistic work. Sophia always said that her husband was her great love. She said that he gave her confidence, believed in her, and helped her become a great actor and a deep, honorable woman. Carlo Ponti died in 2007, and Sophia Loren will always feel a hole in her life that can't be filled. His death ended a time in her life, both individually and professionally. But Sophia has continued to honor his memory with grace, often saying that he was the inspiration behind the most important things she has done in her life. Even now that she is older, she often thinks about the trip they took together. She remembers how much they laughed, how they shared dreams, and how strong their friendship was. Their story is a timeless example of how love can last no matter what. A romantic relationship based on more than just desire, it also needs to be based on deep understanding, artistic synergy, and unwavering commitment. Sophia Loren is one of the last living stars of Hollywood's golden age. She is 91 years old, and will always be a symbol of beauty, intelligence, and emotional depth. She has worked with many of the best leading men of her time over the course of her long and successful career. But George Peppard is a name she hasn't talked about much in public. Now that she is older, she feels safe talking about their time together. She talks about how much she admired and struggled to work with such a complicated and interesting man. George was a mystery to me. Loren starts in a soft voice. Even though he was good-looking and smart, there was something troubled and eager to show itself in his eyes all the time. They met for the first time in the early 1960s, when both were at the top of their jobs, Loren said. She was already a famous actress around the world for her roles in Two Women, El Cid, and Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Pepper, meanwhile, had just had a big hit with Breakfast at Tiffany's, which made him one of Hollywood's most hopeful new leading men. She said that we met at a dinner in Los Angeles. At first, he was quiet and seemed far away, but when he spoke, his voice had a lot of power. He had worked hard to be taken seriously, and I could tell. Loren said Pepper had an old-fashioned view of what it means to be a man, which was both attractive and scary at times. She said that he was attractive, but that he also had a pride and armor about him that made it hard to get to know him well. Loren said that their working relationship was marked by both respect and stress. She said that George took his job very seriously. Every word and movement had to be just right for him. That level of focus can be beautiful, but it can also wear you out. There were times when things didn't go his way, and he would get angry. I would just smile at him. "George," I told him, "life is not a battlefield." He laughed, but I don't think he really believed it. Loren laughed at the memory, but it made her sad, like she was remembering a guy who never quite found peace with himself. He wanted to be noticed. He did push people away, though. That wasn't true for him. The Italian actress was honest about Peppard's image in Hollywood, how hard he worked to be perfect, how stubborn he was, and how hard he could be to get along with. She said he had a fire inside him that burned brightly but hurt him. She talked about how Peppard's disagreements with studios and co-stars cost him many chances that could have helped his business grow. In the past, Loren didn't always play the Hollywood game. He said he wanted to be recognized as an artist, not just a good-looking guy. I liked that. But sometimes you have to bend in this game, and George never wanted to bend. However, Loren's tone was friendly rather than harsh. People didn't always see how kind he was. She said he could be very nice in between takes. He liked to talk about politics, books, and the way people live. He wasn't just on the surface. He always had questions and something to look for in his mind. Loren paused, and her voice got softer. "I feel like he was too smart for the world he lived in at times. There is more value on beauty than on thought in Hollywood." George had both, but the idea of having them both never made him feel good. When Loren thought about Peppard's later years, she became clearly upset. "I felt bad that the business world turned its back on him." She told him she knew he deserved better. He could have been one of the greats at one point, like Brando or Newman, but fate had other plans. Loren also said that Peppard's problems with drinking and his own demons seemed to come from the same restless energy that made him so interesting on screen in the first place. She told him that he wanted the truth in everything. He felt that pain inside him, though, because the truth can hurt. Loren gave George Peppard a sad smile when asked what she would say to him today if he were still alive. "I would tell him that he was wonderful," she stated, "that his skill was enough and he didn't need to fight so hard." After a long pause, she added in a quiet voice, "He was a good person, even though he didn't believe it." Sophia Loren's thoughts on George Peppard give us a rare look into the personal lives of two stars who were both shaped by the same hard world. She respects Peppard as an artist, and her words, which are tinged with wisdom and kindness, show that she knows how fragile he is behind his strength. "We came from different places," she said in the end, "but I knew what he meant. Under all of his pride and trouble, there was a man who just wanted to be loved."